will begin with public comment for 15 minutes. As a reminder, there's a 3-minute limit per individual. Speakers should address the matters on which are within the powers of the duties of the SRLJC. Speakers should also identify themselves and address the chair. Council members will not engage in dialogue with the speakers. If you'd like to comment and have not done so already, send a chat message to the admin assistant, and she will give you a speaker number, can't talk today, and announce when your turn is to speak. So I'll start it now. Also get an opportunity to introduce Patty. She has taken the place of Rebecca while Rebecca is on maternity leave. So she's here to help out. So Patty, do we have anybody that's indicated they want to speak at this point? You're muted. Not hearing anything. I'll give it a few more minutes. Patty, are you able to unmute? Okay. Well, I'm going to move on in the interest of time. And if there are any that email in, I'll make sure that I bring up those in the next meeting. So first order of business is to adopt the minutes from the May 14th meeting. So do I have a motion to adopt the minutes?
So Mike, I have a question.
Yeah.
The minutes that were sent out, they're indicating on the actual form that they are from September 10th, but they don't seem like they're from September 10th. So
Yeah, you're right. We did not have a quorum for the 10th. Is that correct?
So I think that they are improperly listed though.
Okay.
So I'm not exactly sure what they are, because if you look at the agenda looks sort of like it's part of the 10th, but then the minutes themselves don't align. So I just, maybe we can have some clarification on that.
Well, no, I think what we'll do is we'll strike the minutes for now, and I'll go back and look through it. I do see one thing here that I do actually see two things that probably should be adjusted on here. So I will go back and readjust the minutes, and we won't move to adopt them during this meeting. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. So the letter that I was asked, John, is John Haley on. Yeah, John, I mailed the letter, I hand delivered and emailed. Each of the Board of County Commissioners a copy of the letter for the racial inequity concerns that we have for the SRLJC. I sent that on October the 8th, and we haven't got any word yet from any of them. So what I'll do is I'll double check with them to see if there's any progress on that, but that's the status of that right now. That's as far as we've gotten on that part of it. But the letter was sent out. Yeah. Okay. Next order of business, we'll call the capstone grant update. Aaron, are you able to give an update?
I sure can. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Oh no, so sharing is not turned on. Send a request.
While he's doing that, I apologize for the clunkiness today, guys. We'll get it ironed out. So
Okay, I think I'm good here. Can y'all see that?
Yep.
Good to go. Colin saying yes. All right, then we can go. I gave a presentation in front of the board a few weeks ago with some stats through October 22nd. So this is for our supported release program in district court. Won't stay too far into the weeds here. I know we're pressed for time, but just to show what the court has done. As far as releasing folks to the program, we've seen a steady increase. That second line there, release to supported release, has gone way up. In fact, October is probably even going to surpass September once we finish compiling all the stats. So 18% of that first appearance doc is getting put on the supported release program. So we're seeing a huge influx of our caseload. We're actually, I would say, almost maxing out at this point. We only have one grant position to cover that program. We did not anticipate such engagement from the court. So kind of a blessing and a curse there, but we're just looking at ways to kind of readjust our resources so we can handle the influx of cases. But a lot of people are getting put on this program. Kind of a snapshot of what our caseload looked like a few weeks ago. We had 95 people that were out of custody, openly engaged in the program. That number is a lot higher right now. I can tell you that right now. We're up in the 140s right now. Some folks do, when this is a voluntary program, just to reiterate, there is a share of folks who decide not to participate in the program. You can see there are 34 people we closed because they declined the program, and then 96 people just never bothered to check in with us or say hello to us or anything after release. But we expected that. It's a voluntary program, but we're still seeing a lot of good engagement from folks who are taking advantage of the resources we're able to try and help them with. And here are the snapshot of the referrals that we've handed out so far. The largest one isn't so much a referral as a service we provide, it's court support. We're actually going to court with these individuals, attending court with them, helping to bridge that gap between their attorney and a lot of their doubts, their anxieties. They're afraid they're going to get arrested if they show up for court, but we're sitting in court with them and just helping them stay calm and get through the process and make it to all their court dates. And then you can see kind of the breakdown of the rest of the resources in the community that we've handed out so far. We are providing follow-up with this, just checking and seeing if people are engaging with these services that we're helping them find, or if we can help them in any further way. I'll keep moving. Just as a snapshot of our appearance rates. So for the folks that are actively engaged in the program, we're seeing really good numbers. Out of 373 hearings, our folks attended 342 of those for a 92% appearance rate, which I think is really great. The safety rate, safety rate is the lack of being arrested on a new charge or even being cited for a new charge. 97%, or that's our citation or arrest free rate. So our folks are staying out of trouble while they're in the supported release program, not getting rearrested and starting that cycle again. So we're seeing really good numbers there. I'm working with Diane Lindquist on getting this data up on the dashboard. This is kind of a screenshot of what that's going to look like. Some data we're going to get ready to push out. Really, it's just everything I just showed you on the last few slides, but in a visual form. And these will update monthly. And hopefully they're readable on your screen there, but that's just kind of a visual of what that's going to look like. I've discussed it with Diane. We're hoping to push this out end of this week or early next week at the latest. So just wrapping up some loose ends, but things are looking good there. And I guess the courthouse navigator, maybe some of you have seen this on the first floor of the courthouse. This is a project that we started in August, a desk down there by the security station to really help people find their way through the courthouse around the county campus. It is a confusing place, as you guys probably all know. Here's some numbers that we've compiled since starting on August 21st. Our courthouse navigator, her name is Denisha. She's helped over 1,000 people in the courthouse already. And about a third of those, she's actually helped get to the destination they need to go to. Clerk's office is kind of the high ticket item there. All the Superior Court courtrooms. Walked a lot of people over to the public safety building or over to the municipal court and the annex courtrooms, and you can see the rest of the numbers there. We're also able to hand out some resources like bus passes and snack bags. We just started rolling that out, so those numbers look a little low, but we're getting the word out. And so folks who come to the courthouse for really any kind of reason, but have a tough time getting home, we're able to assist with a 2-hour bus pass. So you can always send people down to that help desk or to pretrial services if you know they need transportation assistance. So that's just kind of a brief, I guess that's the end there. Brief snapshot of what we've done here lately with the capstone projects that we have going on.
Good deal, Aaron. It looks like you're making good progress, and it's nice to see these numbers. And refreshing from the way the supported release was structured before to this. It's
Mhm.
just phenomenal.
Mhm.
And good job to you and your team for doing that.
Can I ask him a question, Mike?
Sure.
Aaron, those are just phenomenal numbers in terms of people showing up for court and not reoffending by the measures. I get that you have more than you could handle as far as personnel that are funded, but since the Safety and Justice local task force is thinking about if there were more resources in our system, where best to deploy them, is there any kind of conceptual impediment to expanding this to felonies, if, again, assuming you had sufficient resources in terms
Sure.
of personnel?
Yeah, it really comes down to staffing and resources. And long term, this could be added into some sort of, release matrix as kind of a low level. This is the option for the lowest level offenders, and then ratchet it up, more oversight, more supervision from there. If it were to go to the support or the superior court side, I could see this as kind of a low level release option.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Brian, I have that for the Safe and Healthy Task Force. Is that the one you're referring to?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have that. I have this on my list as one of the things, but either one of us could bring it up, because I think expanding this with the right kind of personnel really has been a benefit to the reduction in the population in the jail.
Yeah.
Because I think it's making good progress on that side of it. So I can't say enough about it. It's just been phenomenal.
Yep. It's
So,
awesome.
yeah. And then along the same vein, and the capstone is the community engagement part. We are full steam ahead, and Brian's also a part of that as well. So is Colin, I believe, is a part. Well, I think some more than that is involved in it. So we wanted to begin with getting the interest from the community. We've got quite a few names of folks that are interested in going out in the community and talking to their groups in order to, find out the concerns and their opinions, along with a survey to, kind of give us a report card on our justice system and some of the things that they think we could benefit from and revisit. So the community sign up sheet is up. There's been about 10 to 12 that have already signed up for doing it. There's also an overview PowerPoint that we intend to send with the individuals as they go out and talk to their individual groups. And do know that Judge Viviano and Dr. V are meeting individually with folks that had more specific questions than that could be addressed within the larger group discussions, which I think is good. It bears that extra effort to reach out to those folks. So it's going full steam ahead. As far as I can see, I think they're doing a wonderful job of chair and co-chairing it, and it seems to have good momentum. Dr. V and I are both on the Safe and Healthy Spokane Task Force, and this was brought up as one of the suggestions for helping out with some of the community engagements for that work group as well. So I think that this is going to be another one of the capstone elements. It's just going to go full steam ahead. The dashboard, you got a chance to look at Diane's work. She's very, very gifted at doing these dashboards. We have numerous requests for them. We're just kind of prioritizing, where to go next on these. I know District Court had talked about us doing one for them. We have the prosecutors, we're still reaching out to public defenders, and when we get an opportunity to do that, we'd love to come over and help out in Colin's group as well. So full steam ahead on that part of it. Any comment, Brian, or anyone else that's on the community engagement before I move on?
Oh, I would just say that it's challenging on how to scale all the information to groups and trying to figure out. I think we argue would be too strong, but we discussed like, oh no, we want to give this information, we want to do that, and so we're trying to be pretty realistic on the initial outreach to these groups, but with the hope that we would organize a symposium for the public so that we really could go in depth on programs like Aaron's program of really explaining things in depth, plus all the other programs we do, plus other best practices around the Northwest that have shown really good results. And so that's kind of how we tried to compromise, is not go too deep in these initial contacts, but then hopefully near the beginning of the year, organize a symposium similar to what we've done before. We did a Smart Justice Symposium about a dozen years ago that was well attended. And now we have the technology for those symposiums to really get real-time feedback from people of what they like or not like. And when we did the first Smart Justice Symposium, we had electronic paddles. And what was so interesting is that most of the room were criminal justice professionals. And on the one hand, they were saying what they thought when their bosses were there. But when they had the confidentiality of the electronic paddles, they had a different opinion about what should be done or not. And so we could do the same thing. And the thing that was amazing about it the first time was everyone in the room was pretty darn unified about where we need to go. And to some degree, we've been going there. So anyway, I think it's very encouraging.
Yeah, I do too. I would agree with that. It's certainly a step in the right direction, Brian. I think that, we can gain some momentum on it and then bring back some good recommendations to the core group. I think that's going to be a good thing. So, let's see. On to detention services, you'll see on the agenda. I don't know if you've been following any of the public discussions for the board, but there's some significant challenges that we're facing on financial challenges for the county, and it's no different for the city. I know the city is also facing some significant challenges. The NAV care, we think that we have someone in line to take on the medical services for the jail, which is good because they've also got some experience with the waiver 1115 that's going to help out on that front. And so we're developing the final details on that. Like everything else, it costs more, but we're going to move forward and have a recommendation for the board. It's still pretty stagnant on as far as corrections officers and getting them hired and into the jail. The only positive is that we have seen a reduction in the jail numbers, and without having directly correlating data, I think some of it has to do with the supported release program. Really tackling some of those gross misdemeanors and so forth. I think that's been a real benefit for us, and along with that, there's been some conversations on, what we do with Geiger, whether we continue to have Geiger, do we use a portion of Geiger? We're facing some significant, capital investments like the HVAC systems, $9 million. The electrical system, particularly in the kitchen, which is failing, has been estimated at $3.2 million. There's some, some things that have to be fixed out there immediately, and some that we could probably put off for a while, but we're going to have to do an evaluation, large numbers to keep that building operating out there. So you've got some decisions to make. The board has got, essentially 3 to stay status quo, or B, maybe closing one of the buildings and not doing all the, remodels or capital improvements to that one, and move that population downtown to the jail while we have capacity to do so. And then the other one would be eliminate Geiger, which I don't think is on the table because we certainly need that, to be having that space out of Geiger for that. But they're all things that the board is considering right now. So if you haven't been seeing any of the updates from the public, meetings for the Board of County Commissioners, and it's probably worthwhile going back if you're interested in looking at some of those videos just to get an idea of some of the conversations that are going on. The Crisis Relief and Sobering Center, we're just wrapping up the functional programming for the facility, so it's moving like it should be. The site and hazardous waste for any abatement has already been done, and there is no abatement necessary for the site, which is probably good news for Dan. But it's good news for all of us that we don't have anything over there to consider. The FF&E, which is the furniture, fixtures, and equipment inventory, is almost completed, and it's coming in about where we thought it would come in at. The budget and schedule are both on track, and it's still scheduled completion for May of 2027 for the facility. So next up is the GMP, beginning with the mass grading of the site and the excavations. So good news. It's all going along pretty well over on that front as well. Aaron kind of already gave a pretrial update, so I'm going to move on to Colin. Colin, can you share anything new on the caseload standards, or, are you comfortable doing that, or do we have anything new to report?
That's kind of a loaded question, Mike.
It is.
There's a lot going on with the
Do
caseload.
you want me to
standards.
back off on that one, Colin?
Well, I don't know where
ask
you
you
want me to
about golf?
start or
How about golf?
finish.
Yeah.
Nothing has been resolved as, I don't know, with any finality, I guess I'll say at this point.
Yeah.
We're still working through that. As many of you know, we have adopted the WSBA standards, which currently includes case weighting, but there's conversations with the county commissioners. There's conversations about code changes that affect the caseloads, that affect case weighting. Supreme Court came out with a new order clarifying their prior order on June 9th, just last week, I believe. So that's changed a few things. For certainly, it's changed the math, or at least how I was doing the math. So I'm redoing that. There's a whole bunch of issues related to the caseload standards, all of which will hopefully be figured out in the near future. But Mike, if there's something specific you'd like me to address, or if you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer. But it is it's a long conversation typically, and there's a lot of nuance. So I won't try to guess on what you want to find out and what you don't.
No short answers. I know, Colin, just that we're moving pressing forward and working towards the solution for those. And it's challenging, been very challenging. So, so on the waiver 1115, particularly for you, Brian, it looks like the medical provider we're bringing on has good experience in this and has worked with somebody in the state of Washington already on this. Right now, we're reviewing the internal MAP programs and the caseworkers' obligations and duties to fulfill what the structure of the waiver $1115 are right now. Whether we hire them from the group, they provide the group by contract, or we do some other methodology. So weighing through some of those, and just the scope of work is narrowed down. It's great news because that project has basically been sitting until we get a medical provider on board. So I think once it happens, Brian, I think it'll pick up speed, pretty readily after that part of it. So I feel pretty comfortable on that part. Rochelle, did I see that you're going somewhere else? Are you staying with Lutheran Services? Or are you going somewhere else?
I'm not. I was hired as the policy director at the Washington State Coalition of Domestic and Sexual Violence. So at the end of December, I'll be leaving LCS. So they're currently hiring to backfill my position. So I hope to provide a warm handoff and that person to go through this application process, and hope you'll consider them. I have an idea in mind who I think it will be, but I will announce it and do the warm handoff once it's official.
And then also, did you see through the Safe and Healthy Spokane Task Force, they're going to do a tour of the jail and Geiger?
Yes, thank you. I am signed up for that, and I will be keeping my position on that since it's a timed amount. So you will still see me on the Safe and Healthy Task Force.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah, thank you for checking. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Tim, anything from your world?
Now, big thing is I'll be emailing you and contacting about working on that comprehensive judicial electronic system, so we all can get together and start working on that.
Yeah, if the county commissioners is entertaining the idea of doing a thorough look at all of our systems to see what's the best pathway forward and long-lasting pathway forward. In the interim, one entity that comes to mind is the National Center for State Courts as being a good way to tackle that. The other one would be maybe some technical assistance out of the MacArthur Foundation if they have capacity to do that, or we have capacity to do that within what we have right now. Along with that, I know that the prosecutors are looking at a system, and I know that Colin and I are looking through a couple of systems, different ones, just to get an idea of what's even out there, as far as, for public defenders software. And you guys, I don't know if you're familiar or not, but the ones that we have right now, SCOMAS, Discus, PD Man, Case Man, all those were developed internal. by our IT services, and so they are aged, to say the least, and they are not adequate and not serving the purpose that we want to. I don't know if we're ready to take the hyper leap that the city did. What's the system you guys went to, Justin?
eCourt, the eSuite, so eCourt,
eSword,
eCross, eDefender.
yeah, I know that Dusty worked on that for what, about 5 years, trying to get that. I think it's still got some pieces he's still working out on it.
Yeah, the data exchanges are still challenging, from police to us to the courts, then the court back to the public defender.
Yeah. See, and that's really, we just need to get it. I know they're out there. We can't be the only county faced with this in the country. I mean, they gotta be out there. We just have to figure out what they are. So,
Yeah, we're not. It's, the best system going is Lynx in Pierce County. But that's a proprietary system. That's the system we wanted to have back in 2015, but the Judicial Information Systems Committee made a decision, 2-to-1 vote, and the clerk's lost. We ended up getting the Tyler Technology Odyssey system. And so we're not happy about it, but it is what it is. That will be our system as case management statewide, but not document management countywide. So what Mike's referring to is, how do we integrate the counties? Now, some counties have actually been forced financially to take the Tyler system. We're not in that boat yet. So for all the stakeholders on the screen here, we will get together with everybody when we actually sit down and put a committee together to look at how we can integrate our electronic judicial systems. Again, you got application extender for me, you got PD man, you got case man, you got Super Cow, Superman, you got the jail tracks, jail links. I can't remember what they call it now. So we got a lot of integrated systems, but they're all built by our folks here, and they're all patchwork. So
yeah,
once we have a plan ahead, everybody on this screen here will get together with you as we start talking about how to move ahead to make our county system somewhat holistic.
yeah. And then also too, just for, I'm sorry, Brian, did you?
I was just gonna, and I know this is kind of obvious, but having worked at the city and the county, it would be of course, the best world that we're all in the similar software. So to the degree, if the county's gonna make a change, it'd be great to get the ideal, but it also should keep in mind, if the city's gonna stick with theirs, the benefits of being on the same. So I was just gonna throw that out. It's kind of obvious, but I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, well, thank you, Brian. Now I lost what I was gonna say, so I forgot what I was gonna say. So anyway, oh, I know what I was gonna say. I did provide the Safe and Healthy Spokane Task Force, it's a mouthful to say that all the time. I did provide them with a copy of our SIMs. So they have a copy of our SIMs that we did. I let them know that that body of work lives with the SRLJC. And they also have Maggie's provided for the city SIMs. So it looks like that's going to be a big part of the conversation, at least on the behavioral health side of things, that to get those parts going. So that's very positive too. I think there's a lot of positive things going on. You know, if we don't get too caught up in all the other minutiae, I think the worker bees are doing great work and we're getting stuff done. So, okay, well, that's all that's on the agenda. Does anybody else have anything for the Superior Court? Do you have anything overall, anything? John?
Yeah, Mike, thanks a lot for going to the trouble of making that letter and getting that sent out. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate this council's support of doing that. I wonder if it would be possible, Mike, for the members of this council to receive a copy of that.
Oh, I thought she'd send it out, but maybe, yeah, absolutely.
Well, maybe you did. I need to recheck my stuff. I don't know. I keep an eye on that sort of thing, but I would like to have it just for records.
100%.
I'm grateful for what you did, Mike. I appreciate it.
Well, it kind of comes with the territory here. Second, John. Write that down. And then I think also, if I got an echo here. It's been a challenging day today. So anyway, I apologize for the clunkiness. Like I said, we'll get it going here. So there's a lot of things that, you know, that Patty's having to learn on the fly here, to try to reengage. And as you know, I've got a ton going. She also represents Scott and then all the other executive board members. So she's got a lot on her plate. And so this certainly will be something that she and I'll pay more attention to work on, and we'll get the technology figured out. So anything else?
Hey, Mike,
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Mike, real quick.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
probably something I should have added regarding the caseload standards. There's been some news coverage that's just quite frankly false. So I want to let everybody here know that. There's an article that came out from WASAC, I think it was last week, claiming that caseloads had reached a point here in Spokane County where defendants were being released because an attorney couldn't be assigned. That is not the case. That has not happened one time. We are prioritizing in-custody clients for obvious reasons. And at this point, all in-custody clients have been assigned since our adoption of the WSBA standards. So if you hear some stuff on that, there's been some press inquiries. There's been a follow-up article that piggybacked on the WASAC article in Seattle. So there are some things happening with that tagline. Just so you guys know, that is not the case. So if anybody asks you, now you have the real information.
Yeah,
And-
and
and-
that's the same from our office to everyone. We were also shocked by that article, and I had multiple people texting and emailing me asking if this was accurate. No, it's not accurate. So I don't know where they're getting their information from, but it is kind of disappointing that they would run a story like that with no factual background to support it.
So I sent the email that you had sent over, Colin, to Pat, and Pat is gonna help coordinate and put something together. I'm assuming with both of you.
Okay.
Put out for a release.
Oh.
So.
That's a really helpful update. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Mike, I had a quick little update for the group, and that is the Northwest Mediation Center, which is a local dispute resolution center. They got a grant from JAMS, which is Judicial Arbitration Mediation Service nationally. They're one of 4 dispute resolution or 5 centers that got a grant for 2 years to try, and this grant is to try to improve governance within the total court system. And so they're starting out with doing some interviews of participants in the system, both insiders and outsiders. And so I met with them yesterday, and many of your names are on my list of people they might want to talk to. So if you hear from Laurel from Northwest Mediation Center, you can blame me. But she's on a good cause and wants to just get your frank opinions about things. So.
What was the name of it again, Bryn? I'm sorry.
It's Northwest Mediation Center is the entity, and Laurel is the project manager.
That's what I thought you said. Okay, all right.
Yep.
Anything else? District Court, John, you're hiding out there. Anything from your world? Taking that as a no. So, all right, you guys. Well, thank you. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll be in touch.